Monday. RawMikeRichards.com. Back in the smoke. Actually, it's kind of not true. The real smoke was in Calgary from the horrible fires that took place in Kamloops, 618 kilometers away. And the smoke, Dave, reaches Calgary in such a way, and people from out there know what I'm talking about, when they do have that kind of problem. It does travel that far, and I showed you some pictures before the show. Blocks out the sun in the middle of the day.
That's unreal. You know what? We send our best to everybody in BC fighting this, and they will win this fight. It will take them some time, but man, that's the country's behind them, and I hope this is it resolves itself a lot sooner than we think.
Well, our good friends at DKI, including the real awesome interview we had with Ryan Thalwell, the company that goes out there and does all the dirty work. I mean, whether it was Fort Mac the year beforehand,
yep.
Now it's Kamloops. It's just what they do. So we're happy that we're able to talk about some of the actual issues that they do. So once again, that was certainly news. But back here in Toronto at 234 King Street East, the Pacific Junction Hotel, where lots to talk about today. But really, when we say lots to talk about, it probably mostly has to do, if we're talking about, I guess, stories of significance, it's going to come down to Major League Baseball on a trade deadline where there's going to be some names of significance, and it seems like the pretty girl is Sonny Gray. And really that talk has been going on for quite some time. Now, it won't be the only name of significance, and it certainly won't be the only pitcher's name of significance, where we might also be talking about Yu Darvish. You might be talking about Justin Verlander. Depending on how you see some of the Blue Jays staff, is Francisco Liriano, is he on that list? Is an Aaron Sanchez on that list? And
not an Aaron Sanchez, Marco Estrada.
Or sorry, Marco Estrada on that list.
Should be on that list, and if he's not, shame on the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, both of those guys should be gone at the end of the day, even if they pick up spare parts that they may or may not use in the future, because those two pieces moving forward, if we're looking at the 2018 Blue Jays, they're not part of this roster, Mike. So get rid of them while you can. I hope it's an active trade deadline, because we've seen in the past with Major League Baseball, it's not like the NHL, Mike. They're not as busy. It's actually kind of quiet, and it's nice to see names like that, names like Zach Britton out there. You mentioned Justin Verlander. He pitched well yesterday at Comerica.
Yeah.
Left the game with a standing ovation, almost a goodbye.
It was. I mean, there's a little tip of the hat.
Yes.
And it was like, thanks for the memories. Literally, they could have played the Bob Hope theme song as he walked off. And, kind of crazy, too, Dave, to think that, he's going out in the way in which most people remembered him.
Yep.
But let's go back the last two seasons. They weren't, to a degree, Justin Verlander-like. I mean, you got so spoiled where you're used to seeing, literally one of the top 5 pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. But a couple of years ago, he became a little more human. I guess that's the way I'd put it. I think he and kind of struggled off the top a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I guess for a power pitcher, you're going to lose some of your stuff. He seemed to regain a little bit of it last year. Truly, in my opinion, he was last year's Cy Young Award winner if it wasn't for some dumb votes in the Tampa Bay media that didn't even put him on the ballot, which was an absolute crime. You know what? We'll see. But the Tigers are kind of in the same sort of position as the Blue Jays, where they're not going to be part of the postseason dance. So make the most of what you can get for some of these bigger name players.
Well, Steve Pearce.
Yes.
What is he, just eating spinach or some magical fairy dust or something? Because no one really has kind of the week that he's had where you're getting walk-off grand slams.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Exactly. And safe to say he's the American League Player of the Week? Is that?
Well, what else you got to do aside from, I don't know, maybe fight Godzilla or something, or King Kong, because otherwise I've not seen really these kinds of and you know what, I've never remembered a season where we've used the word walk-off so many times this year. And in fact, over the weekend, it just continued to be that way. Now, is there a reason for it? Well, I certainly don't have the analytics for baseball to tell you why this is happening, but for the Blue Jays, in the last week or so, I don't know if it's the resilience of a team that realizes this is once again, the last season of this show. I know they're pissed off because of where they're at, because these guys are all real competitive. They thought they'd be in a different place. They just simply aren't as good as some of those other teams. They're just not. They're just not. There's, you don't have to really overlook what's happened here. And, the Yankees, again, have gone on another bit of a streak, but they're going to – it's back and forth between themselves and the Bo Sox. But, do they go hard thinking that they can win? I can tell you this. Those guys on that team still think they have a chance. That's why I think you're getting some of this stuff. But for Steve Pearce, and once again, courtesy and property of Major League Baseball, this is what it looked like.
2-0. Pearce hits one out to left. Has he done it again? He has.
Boom.
Walk-off grand slam for the second time this week. Steve Pearce wins it for the Blue Jays as the Angels drop this one 11-10.
Man. Here's another one.
Freddie lines it into right field. A base hit for the second consecutive day. The Phils have won in their final at bat. This time in the bottom of the ninth inning on an RBI single by Freddie Galvis.
Uh-oh.
There's a drive, and this game is over. Matt Davidson wins it with his team-leading 21st home run of the year. Right field, and this baby is gone.
Second game in a row, the A's walk off. It's their 9th walk-off win of the year.
Now, you notice that, too, when you're taking a look at the I think it still is. It's not the Oakland Alameda. Maybe it's called something different. That's what it was called when I grew up. Maybe it's changed names. It doesn't matter. Now I think they just call it, what is it again?
Coliseum. The Coliseum.
Yeah, empty. That's what they call it. Empty. I mean, what a burn. You think of, I still see those unis, and I guess it goes back to the
Lovely
Catfish Hunter, and even Reggie Jackson of that time. It is a classic uniform now on an organization that has prided itself on not paying anybody. I mean, is that fair to say? I mean, the Moneyball thing. I mean, they've just gone about it in such a different way that if you do have a big name at some point in time, he's going to get dished. And of course, we talked about Sonny Gray off the top of the show. I mean, it will be really interesting to see where he goes. But it's almost sad to see. And again, in a city that has been spoiled by Golden State being as good as they are, but the Raiders going to be gone.
And
yep. I take a look at that empty building. Now, baseball's different, and I don't think there's any talk of the A's going anywhere.
Well, there was some talk.
Yeah,
there was some talk, which would be kind of sad because the rumor was, and they're still a ways away from actually this thing sort of happening, but the San Jose area was interested in bringing in the Oakland A's.
Much improved area, I would say.
Yeah.
Less shivs.
You think so?
Less stabbing. As they say, more. What would they say? What was the slogan at the ballpark? Less murders, more runs.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you know what? And being in that area a couple of times, they're only separated by basically, a bridge, because it's almost like that triangle area. Because a lot of times, if you don't land in San Jose, you land in San Francisco, and you make the quick 45-minute trip to Oakland/San Jose, depending on. You going somewhere good?
Yeah.
You going somewhere not so good?
So when people, how people do that weird thing where they applaud in the plane. Today we're landing in San Francisco. Yay! Oh, I'm sorry. This is your captain speaking. We're not landing in San Francisco. Make that Oakland. Oh. I don't want to die. Tell my wife I love her. Yeah, it's not a great area. No, they're not bragging a lot. San Jose, though, is great.
San Jose is fantastic.
Like if you talk to any of the hockey players,
yes.
whoever spent any time there. Even the Charlie Finley days where you go back to the California Golden Seals and white skates and
white gloves and
all that stuff, they still say. Actually, our good friend Perry Berezin was part of that team.
Was he really?
Yes. Yeah. We came up with the idea, let's look the same as like the other team he owns, which their uniforms, that being the Oakland A's, they look good.
Yes.
On the other hand, white skates and gloves, not as good.
Yeah, because the Oakland A's, I don't know if they still do it to this day, always the white, it was mandatory white shoes. So,
absolutely.
This
was his idea.
It's funny, Las Vegas, Golden Knights, they're wearing white gloves. I'm not joking, white gloves.
Well, it is vague. I think you can get away with so much. And, here's the funny conversation. So we're in Calgary all last week, and they are addicted to Las Vegas. Addicted.
Yep.
You wouldn't believe how many people have propositioned that this show, if indeed it goes down to Las Vegas, and we are, this is going to be a given, that they said, well, to make it when the Flames go down there, and let's just all make it like a Raw Mike Richards, like 4-day extravaganza. Do you know how shitty that's going to turn out? Do you realize how bad and the evil element that would exist with those two things coming together and then us going to Las Vegas? That show might be 20 minutes long.
I hope it's only
Like
that
rough
long.
voices and...
I'm okay with 20-minute shows.
Oh, my God. Let's face it, folks, it's going to be good. Also, we've been talking about going down to... So are they just going to call it Little Caesars, the Red Wings building? Like,
Yes.
what are they, just Little Caesars?
That's it.
Well, we definitely want to be there. If it's not for the opening at some point early, and I know a lot of our good listeners and viewers from around the Michigan area, I know HUD was
Huddy, yeah.
was making sure that he goes, well, you guys going to come down for that? Like, that's going to be awesome. Maybe we talked to our good friend Kenny Daniels, longtime announcer for the Red Wings, because it's a little sad that the Joe is gone. It's one of the classic rinks. Still with the drapes over the top of the stairs when you go into it.
Red drapes.
Oh, I miss the drape. The Gardens used
Plastic,
to have had
red
the
drape.
like that felt. I don't even know what it was, like velour drapes. I don't know exactly how they did it. Where you had concession stands where you could see that the frame of it, you could see the 2x4s and the nails. Like that's what those that's what it's supposed to look like. I mean, because as soon as you put the chrome and the glass in there, all of a sudden that $4.75 beer is now $12.75. It's just how it works. It's just not. Sometimes the barns aren't dirty enough for me anymore, because they all, as much as they all have some qualities, don't you think to a degree, if you're a player in this day and age, so what you have grown up with, you most of the time, aside from the facilities we can't see, Dave, like the change rooms, like for visitors, like how nice they're going to be or whatever, I don't know if there's drastic advantages. Let's say in the NHL playoffs, when you have to go to a place, aside from maybe I don't know if you want to talk about sleep or the travel, depending on where it is there a huge difference in going from building? Because there used to be. Because if you're going to Boston Garden, or you're going to the Odd, or you're going to the Forum,
Buffalo, yep.
if you were going
Hartford Civic Center was kind of had its own little niches.
the old Winnipeg Stadium.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, that's why I think if the Flames, if we're of significance, at some point, they got the weirdness of the Saddle Dome, and I don't think the Saddle Dome is going to be around much longer. But
I was going to say for the time being.
For the time being.
They're looking for something, and especially now that there's that added incentive, because they look up north to, the other brother, Edmonton.
Yeah. And
they see a new facility there, and it's like, okay, it's time for the Saddle Dome to have some sort of new facility as well that will probably top that facility.
As long as they keep the flame that blows off your eyebrows every time the Flames score, then I'm good with it.
I'll never forget the first time that went off. It was
it's a little surprising, folks, just so you know.
Gretzky doing his goodbye tour with the Rangers in '99, and I went from Edmonton to Calgary because a lot of times, the visiting teams do Calgary, Edmonton, Edmonton, Calgary on back-to-back nights, or sometimes there's a space, but usually it's back-to-back because of the light travel. And the Flames scored their first goal, and it's like, and I'm sitting in the upper deck.
Yeah.
So I'm not close to the ice.
No.
But I'm feeling that flame.
Oh, everyone does. You can feel it on you're like literally your eyebrows go. Like it's something I got to feel if they move into that new building.
Bring it.
They got to look at the what do they call it, the fire inspectors or whoever does it going. You're still not planning on that blowtorch going off every time that.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's got to. It's Speaking of things going off, we talked about Steve Pearson the week he had. Kyle Farmer. This is his first major league at bat.
Okay.
So, the Dodgers playoff team, a lot of people a little nervous. You got Clayton Kershaw that they hope comes back for September, and there's, you're a Dodger. There are certain iconic sports franchises that you realize the weight of it. Even if it's your first major league at bat, whether it's the Yankees or you're sitting with the Dodgers, you've got that. I mean, there's a little bit of pressure. And for Kyle Farmer, this kind of worked out okay. I mean, it was a crazy day. And once again, we saw the previous. There was 5 walk-offs in that day. But courtesy and property of Major League Baseball for Kyle Farmer, good day.
Small spot to get your big league debut.
First 2.
Oh.
Base hit down the right field line. Seager's going to come in to score. Turner getting the wave. Relay to the plate. Dodgers win it.
Oh. Nice. Ripping off his jersey.
For Kyle Farmer in his major league debut.
What were you telling yourself?
That was great. I think that was also Dan Schulman doing Sunday Night Baseball, was it not?
It was.
Yeah.
Good thing he didn't want to keep that jersey as a souvenir of his first game, eh? Could I have that?
Yeah. Guys, I didn't mind doing that for the team, but I didn't want my fucking shirt being torn off in front of everybody. I mean, I haven't been doing a lot of sit-ups lately because, as you know, I don't play a whole bunch. Anyone notice that I haven't got a lot of at-bats? That was my first one. And you take my shirt off? Dicks? It's a little embarrassing. I mean, I don't care who you are. I'm not. Well, no. Maybe there are some guys who probably enjoy that. If Russell, you played baseball, you're kind of going, yeah, I need to show you some stuff.
Yeah, get this off me, fellas.
Yeah.
We're good.
I
No. Pull.
I think I might go around the bases one more time for the ladies. Now we're gonna have our good friend Mark Scino from Golf Talk Canada.
Should be calling us any
Very
second
soon.
now.
I can tell you right now.
I'll need those headsets there, Rusty.
It's gonna take a couple of spins on
Is it?
Skype. We forgot. Normally we have to test it to make sure it happens. So we just
test today.
We just gotta. Now, are we gonna play his clip before he comes on or
No,
after?
Let's play it while he's on with us.
Well, he's on. Okay.
Yeah.
So once again,
As long as we have it set up, kind of thing.
Johnny Vegas is a two-time winner now. Jonathan Vegas.
Bank to bank.
Yeah, it was back-to-back. And it is one of those tournaments, too, that has had difficulty sometimes getting not only the audience it wants, and I'm not talking about here in Canada, I'm just saying worldwide. And sometimes the actual guys who show up, Dave, because it's difficult because you're just getting through the Open. So you're coming from somewhere in the UK, and I know they've worked real hard sometimes just trying to get the players on sending the private jets or whatever they got to do to get them over to play this thing, because that's a tough schedule to get a guy from UK to here.
Are we okay with is Skype working?
Well, let's give it a shot. Is he calling in?
He tried and he said it's saying the number is not correct.
Okay, we'll give him that. Well, Mark Scino, just so you know,
we're giving it again.
did not go to Harvard.
No, he didn't.
So
I don't even know if he went to George Brown, to tell you the truth.
He's not even Harvard with a T. Like, honestly, he's got to be good at golf or something. Because
Harvard.
yeah, an Italian guy who doesn't speak Italian, like everything's going wrong. That's why his dad's mad all the time. That's why he's known as Angry Mike. So if he gives it another shot, let's see if this thing even, because we did not test it once again.
Worst case scenario, I could phone him too.
Yeah, or I can call from here.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, but we'll broadcast his number all over the show today. This is how you call Mark Scino. If he tries again, let's see what happens.
Saying it's not assigned now. That's what it's saying.
Okay, this is so classic. I can't believe we didn't even check this thing out.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
It's funny. So my wife's going through my phone numbers from.
That's not good either, Dave.
Well, no, it's not.
I'm telling you, maybe we don't need to know this.
No. But she keeps on saying the Skype number because it's a 315, and she's like, "Who's this Skype? What's this 315 number from New York?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, that's our Mike Richards line." She said, "You got charged like $15 of long distance charges." I'm like, "Really?"
You're kidding.
Like, oh, yeah. Well, it's a U.S. number, right?
But you might see the name Rochelle, and he's like, "Oh, you mean Rochelle?" Tomorrow
she's calling us tomorrow.
We do have a Rochelle.
Yeah.
And she is what they call an adult entertainer.
She is. Do you want the Zucchino number while
okay.
we're
so let's just see
while we're talking? Yes, tomorrow on the show, Rochelle Ryan, diehard Giants fan, and current porn star. She was, I guess, one of our listeners was talking to us that she actually knows her football. So we'll see if she knows her football, and she'll be part of the show tomorrow. She'll be calling us, hopefully on this same number.
Well, we got
that we're trying to make it work because I do not have her number. Russell apparently does, though, so it's not a... We're all good?
Choose country or region. Yeah. Why do they have some of these? Who's calling Afghanistan?
Scarborough.
Which is kind of like
region.
Sort of has... Yeah, it's got all these. Okay, Congo. No one's calling the Congo. Could we just?
No. We should do one day just to.
Here we go. All right, let's give this a shot.
Okay.
Do you hear that? Okay, this is going to work. I'm telling you right now.
All right. Ooh. I think we have a winner.
Yes, let's try it. Let's go to the phone line.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, this is Mike Richards from rawmikerichards.com. Hey, Connor, how you doing today?
Did I win the free tickets?
No, in fact, you won fuck all. But I'll tell you what, Mark. How you doing, buddy? How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good, boys. How we doing?
Okay, well, just momentarily here. So, are we going to play Mark's call here?
Let's call. Mark, can you set this up for us?
Yes.
What exactly is it, just so we can present it properly?
All right. So, I won the PGA Tour Call of the Week, and I thought this would be appropriate for you guys because I know you like to, gamble a little bit here or there, and I know you like to marry your gambling with sport. Johnny Vegas won the Canadian Open yesterday, back-to-back, as you gentlemen both know. And this is his putt to get to 21 under par. I think the rest will speak for itself.
Here we go.
12 feet directly underneath the hole. This to get to 21 under par. Putter back. Ball goes up the rise. Tries to stretch and down. Blackjack, Johnny Vegas, 21 under par.
How about that?
Oh, I like that. Okay, Z. When you're thinking the potential of it going to 21, did you have in the back of your mind, I'm calling blackjack here if he drops this?
Yeah. So what happened was, I was just waiting to drop Vegas baby all day. I'm just waiting to drop Vegas baby, and I'm walking to the 13th green, and it just dawns on me that if he makes birdie here, he's going to 21. And like when I go to a casino, 80% of the time, 75% of the time, I'm playing blackjack, and the other percent, I'm usually on the craps table, cursing the fact that I was stupid enough to go to the craps table. That's how it got. I go, okay, if he makes it, and it was not a gimme, it was like 9 feet. I go, but if he makes it, I'm going to go with that and see how it plays. So I had it prepped about 2 minutes before the putt dropped. So when I went, this is going to be good.
Oh, it sounded fantastic. Well done.
And of course, it's PGA radio, so you can't drop the, suck me sideways. There's a.
No, I can't.
That was the runner-up.
Yeah, I can't drop other Vegas amenities into the call, like crack and prostitutes and things of that nature. They don't go so well on PGA Tour radio. So
no, Johnny Vegas. So and I was just talking about the kinds of players that we get for our National Open, and it hasn't been the easiest. And a lot of times it's about scheduling when and where players want to dedicate their time. Each and every year, I imagine that they sit down and sort of take a look at what's happening. And when you come right after the Open. Is that the difficulty that doesn't matter where it is in Canada? And sometimes it's on the West Coast. I mean, Glen Abbey at this point. But if it, like the ones out in BC, does it become a scheduling issue as to what the field is going to look like?
Oh, huge, Michael. That's what it is because the golf course is friendly. Some guys really like it. Some guys are indifferent to it. No one dislikes it anymore. So the golf course is fine. The purse is solid. It's an easy travel to wherever they're going next, obviously out of Toronto most of the time. But being behind the Open Championship is brutal. Now, I do know this from being around there this week. The days of the Canadian Open moving around the country more than, say, once a decade are done. The new CEO of Golf Canada, Lawrence Applebaum, and the people at Golf Canada have just come, unfortunately, it's bad. It's not a good realization, but the fiscal realization of this tournament is when it's not in the GTA, you've got two major problems. When it's not in the GTA, you could lose a boatload of dough. Sometimes you don't, but you are certainly rolling the dice, and they do not have the kind of, money behind them, or they, don't want to disappoint RBC as well. So you've got to keep it in the GTA. And the other factor is the further west you move, the worse the field gets. Because now you're going from, England, Scotland, etc., and you're going not just to Toronto, you're going another 5 hours to Vancouver.
Yeah, almost around the world, Mark, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. So I don't think, with the exception of maybe once a decade, guys, I don't think you're going to see it leave. The furthest west you're going to see it is Hamilton, and it's going to be in the GTA.
Interesting. You know what name really popped up to me, and I was kind of excited about, not only because of Mike's fantastic impression, but how old the dude is. Vijay Singh. Vijay Singh came to play this week here in Toronto, didn't he?
Not a bad decision either, guys, because, he should have been in Wales for the Senior British Open, and where it was like -4, and they were all trying to beat Bernard Longer in -4-degree weather, right? And VJ's like, I'll take a pass on that, and I'll play in 25 degrees and sunny. And boy, he walks away with a big paycheck, plays great, doesn't travel to the other side of the world. It's different if he was 24 years old, or 34 and in his prime. But at 54, you know what? What a great call for VJ. It's been a long time. The last time he won on the PGA Tour was 2008, but who cares? This is all bonus ATM cash cow money for VJ Singh. So a bit of a surprise. I don't think anybody saw it coming, but really solid play.
We're in conversation with Mark Zecchino from Golf Talk Canada here on rawmikeRichards.com. And by the way, for those that are asking these questions, tweeting it in, sometimes the nickname for VJ is ATM, as in the cash machine, not as in the ATM, what some of you people are saying.
That costs extra.
No, that you might see on RedTube. That's not what that is. It's, come on, people, let's keep it. Come on, it's a family show. Yeah, real family show, this one. So you're taking a look at Jordan Spieth, and it's funny when we get into this conversation about likability. And there's a strangeness about it because, as our technical producer, Russell Roast Beef Graham, I said, well, who doesn't, why are people mad about Jordan Spieth, or why don't they like him? And Russell's like, well, I don't like him. I'm like, why? Is it because of his family background coming from money and Highland Park in Dallas? Is it what is your feeling? Because I think some people should be cheering for him when it comes up to the PGA Championship, but there is an element out there that, is it the fact that they want to make that there is a bad guy, like someone who wears the black hat in the PGA? Because right now there's a lot of likable guys. I don't know if there's really a villain. So are they just trying to make that happen as him being the bad guy?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work as a bad guy. I understand a few traits or a few, things that he couldn't change, like you mentioned, like where he comes from, background, etc., that may make him unlikable to certain people. But to force him into a bad guy role, like what would be very natural, say for an Ian Poulter or something like that. Poulter played well this week, but unfortunately, he's just not good enough for people to care over a full season and make him a true bad guy.
What are the traits, though? What traits are we talking about that makes him unlikable?
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is, Mike? I think it's his twitchiness and his slowness on the golf course, like the 25-minute ordeal at the Open Championship.
Yes.
I think that is what it is. I think, don't you remember Sergio back in the day couldn't pull the trigger?
Yeah.
And, the guys in New York, New Yorkers, to me, are, my favorite sports fans. There is no filter from people from here, and they are just ripping into him at the U.S. Open, and I think that's part of it with Jordan Spieth. I also think this. When he first came out on tour, and I was out there working PGA Tour radio, he had time for everyone. He spoke to everyone. And he sounded very unfiltered and unscripted. I think in the last 2 years he has gotten more scripted. I think he does not necessarily, he's not as open or available to everyone as he used to be. And part of that is on his agent, who is very difficult to deal with at times.
Okay.
Even with the top level media officials on tour, he can be very difficult to deal with. And they've kind of, put Jordan now on this shelf in this little box. So you kind of add these things up, and maybe that's why. But true villain, that's a tough one. That might be a tough one.
Mark, let's quickly look ahead to the final major of the year. The PGA Championship happened. I believe it's Charlotte. I'm trying to remember the course, but what are we scoping as far as favorites at that course to kind of wrap up getting close to wrapping up the golf season?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, guys. What a horrible year. I hate this revolving door of throw a dart at the board and find a guy that you wouldn't know if you hit with your car to walk away with a golf tournament. So it's at Quail Hollow, which has gone under a few renovation changes. It usually hosts the Wells Fargo Open every year on the PGA Tour. This year it didn't because it had the PGA Championship and went through a few changes. So there's two favorites right now, Jordan Spieth, for obvious reasons because of what he just did at the Open Championship. And the other favorite is Rory McIlroy, who has had an absolutely horrible year, but has multiple wins and a great career at Quail Hollow. So it falls into the horses for courses category, and this drought has to end at some point theory. So those are your favorites right now. After that, trying to find somebody you like heading into this golf tournament, boy, is it almost impossible. Dustin Johnson has basically had the summer off, did not play well at the Open Championship, so-so. Again this week, really a golf tournament he should have won here in Canada and, really could not get it done. Jason Day's nowhere to be found. Rory, nothing but question marks. Sergio just got married. I'm sure he's still celebrating his green jacket. I don't know. I think if I was a betting guy, which, I will certainly lay a few ducats for sure, I will go a long shot. I will look at somebody at 60, 70, 80 to 1 because why not? With the exception of Jordan Spieth, pick a North American player that likes North American style golf, a guy that you think's got some game, who's played well throughout the summer, Daniel Berger, Charlie Hoffman, somebody like that. Take your 80 to 1 and go running to the woods with it and hope he's in the hunt on Sunday.
Hey, before I let you go, Mark, looking at some of the Canadians and from season to season, we always hope that there's, whether it was, Graham Dillette or however we want to word it with some of the other players, it hasn't been the greatest season necessarily. We talked about Mackenzie Hughes, in being 10 strokes back, but I mean, of some of the names we thought that would maybe make a move, what happened to the Canadians this summer, do you think?
It's so weird because we came out of the gates on fire. 2 victories, a 59, Adam Hadwin qualifying for every major for the year. So all this promise, and then we assume that Dillette and Hearn would be, something relative to what we've experienced over the last couple of years with them. And, of course, let's not forget Nick Taylor, Brad Fritsch, and a host of others that make appearances now and then as well. And instead, we've had the complete opposite. It makes no sense to me. I'll give Mackenzie Hughes a pass because we forget this is his rookie year.
Right.
And with the exception of Glen Abbey, most of these golf courses he's seeing for the first time. He's never played them before. So, that comes into the equation quite a bit. For Adam Hadwin, I think what happened was he's gone through a lot of change. It was a lot all at once, and I think he's pressing too hard. In fact, he's verbalized that to myself and to many others that, he got on a little bit of a slump, and he just tried too hard to get out of it and now finds himself in a rut. And golf is one of those weird sports. There's a couple sports out there in the world where you can get in your way and you can try too hard. And I think that's what's happening right now with Adam Hadwin. I think Adam needs to just get out of his way, maybe take some time off, maybe just go back to, 2 or 3 basic fundamentals and let things happen again because he's too good for this slump to last much longer, but I think he's in his own way right now.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much for joining us on short notice here today because I know in your world travels, there's lots of things going on. You're a little bit like Kramer that way, I find. You have this tremendous life. I don't know. You're always in some fancy place. You're either in Hawaii or down in South Carolina. You're getting picture taken with famous people. It's really quite remarkable.
Yeah, well, just, don't tell the wife that, and, the bank account's getting killed for it. So, but just don't call me for movie phone. I don't have a Kramer movie phone. So.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Always appreciate it, my friend. We'll get you in studio soon.
Love it. Take care, boys.
Thanks, Mark.
That is Mark Zecchino from Golf Talk Canada, and he always does a great job. He's a good friend. And there is the magic of Skype. They're working. And it's funny talking about the Canadian Open, just, some of the quirkiness about it, and some of the guys who win. So I wonder, if the Glen Abbey designed by the legendary Jack Nicklaus. Now, is he going, who won? Johnny Vegas? Oh, Christ. Mackenzie Hughes? Oh, that guy's... Can't we get some fucking good people in the tournament? I mean, who's the black kid there a couple of years ago was really good. The one who...
Tiger Woods?
Yeah, that's the guy. He's a real whore, though. He's really horny. I was horny, too, but no one was hornier than... no one knows this about Arnie. Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, yeah. Worse than Elvis. I mean, when he talked about taking the big stick out, trust me, you didn't want to see it. So weird and warped. Yeah, sure. Famous for the iced tea and the lemonade, but not where I was standing. It was the reverse cowgirl. Anyway, so conversations.
Zecchino and Nicholas back to back. That's pretty good.
Yeah. That you wish you never heard, and now people's ears and eyes are burning. You're watching rawmickrichards.com on the dedicated YouTube channel. If you have registered as one of the Richards Army, as a lot of people did, a lot of people just, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That little red thing comes up in the corner right now. Just hit it. Yep, subscriptions. That's what you want to do. Other, I think, I would say sporting headlines. I think if you take a look at what in MLS, the pain that existed in Toronto with TFC was monumental. We'd have Sean Cullen, who would come in, the legendary comedic actor, if you want to put it that way, a stand-up. He does everything. Entertainer, Sean Cullen. Used to be so bitter about his love for TFC, and it would never come through for him. There was always a tremendous amount of pain. Well, not anymore. I mean, you could argue about, just who the best team is in MLS, and when you think about how they lost the championship game, there are expectations, and weirdly, after all of this time, if you talk to people in the soccer world, especially TFC fans, they will tell you that they expect to win a championship. If they don't hoist the cup,
it's a disappointment.
Then it's a disappointment.
Yep.
Like how far is that you got to come to do that?
That's crazy. Eh?
It is crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? Considering what they did against New York City and what they've done again this season, I'm of that same camp. I think if they're not going to win it this year, they may never win it.
Well, it's certainly one of those years where it all seems to indicate, and that's always a little scary, Dave, I think. When everything seems to be going right, it's, I think, when you got to hold your breath the most, because there is an expectation. And a lot of it based on the fact that Giovinco might be considered not only the best player in the league, but there are those who talk about him because of when he came to the league, that maybe the best player that has ever played in the league. And there's been a lot of big names, but a lot of those names that have come from across the ocean were in the twilight of their career, where the majority of it was in the Premiership or was in Serie A or was in the Bundesliga. I mean, whatever league you want to talk about. But this is a guy that has just exploded. Now, maybe not on the world stage to a degree, Dave, because quite honestly, he is not an invite to the Azzurri, the national team. He's shown up, but is not basically going to play in a World Cup for them probably ever.
No, shunned upon. A lot of, when we talked to James Sharman about this, he kind of mentioned it too, very, very vaguely, that a lot of these national programs kind of turn their nose up at MLS. Sebastian Giovinco is more than good enough to play for this Italian national team and could probably provide some offensive spark to a country that's been known for their defensive style of football more than anything else.
And rolling. A lot of rolling going on there, Dave.
Rolling and defense seem to have been the combo that have been successful for the Italian program. But nonetheless, you know what? That's okay by TFC supporters, because they're going to need this guy at least for the next couple of months.
So, Roast Beef, do you have a microphone today? Because you're a little bit of are you a TFC fan?
I was at the game yesterday.
What are you hiding shit on us now? What do you mean you were at the game yesterday?
He always does that. He doesn't invite us.
You hide things.
Yeah.
You and your little weird jealousies trying to ruin Skype and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now you're going to TFC games? Like, how big a fan are you?
I've been going to games since 2007 with my dad when they became a team.
You sneak.
You still got the red paint on you anywhere? Did you get it all off? Or
No, but I still wear the jersey I got in 2007.
which one is it?
Just generic.
Oh,
It says
generic. Okay, so it
Toronto
doesn't
FC
say
on the
Danny
front.
Dichio on it
No.
or anything. Okay. Pat Onstad or
No, but it does have an autograph from Dwayne D. Rosario
Ah,
on his
okay.
first go-around.
On the first time.
on the first time
Yeah.
around, which
Now-
wasn't very good.
No,
The first go around.
no.
Now, what do you think when you hear about how good they believe Giovinco is? To you, is he that good?
I think he is.
Is he the best player in the league?
I think so. And he just won his second goal of the game, set an MLS record for most goals off a free kick. in
Yeah,
history.
exactly. So you know what? Let's see this courtesy and property of Major League Soccer and courtesy of friends at TFC. This in not only 50 goals, but you're going to see a lot more in the magic of Giovinco.
Giovinco with a shot. Giovinco! And so Giovinco has his first Major League Soccer goal.
Magnificent from Sebastian Giovinco.
Oh, wow.
There's Sebastian Giovinco. Sebastian Giovinco is in the middle. It's played in Giovinco. It's a hat-trick. Sebastian Giovinco.
Giovinco has one back.
He takes the single-season goal-scoring record for Toronto FC.
Look at that. Quality. Magic. Oh,
Well, you give him any sort of space at your peril.
well, that looks like Russell Graham.
Sebastian Giovinco. Another incredible performance from Sebastian Giovinco.
Like, really is a thing of beauty. It is. If you're watching this right now on YouTube or on RonMikeRichards.com, the free kick accuracy is ridiculous.
For Sebastian Giovinco.
Like, just amazing stuff. And it continued yesterday. 50 goals, by the way, as someone playing for the Reds. But those free kicks,
Against Pirlo, it's Giovinco.
quality.
Sebastian Giovinco. Here goes Sebastian Giovinco. He's done it again.
Oh, look at that bend.
Sebastian Giovinco. And with the 2 goals in this one today, Sebastian Giovinco hits the 50-goal mark in the MLS regular season.
Once again, that is courtesy and property of Major League Soccer. That is our friend Luke Wildman, by the way, from TSN, doing the great calls as he does. And, of course, TFC. There it is, his 50 goals.
When you see stuff like that, and I'm not trying to pour water on this at all because I don't want him to go, but if you're an EPL team, even maybe not top of the table EPL team, but a team that's wanting to stay in regulation and so forth, why aren't you sending money to this guy to come over and play for their team?
Well, I think it's got to be a conversation, Dave. I mean, when you're looking at his ability to get in there, and again, size at this point, then what, you're going to start questioning the abilities of the great Lionel Messi. I mean, again, not a big guy. It's their ability to not only find space, and again, at the highest levels of soccer, you do see, and this is more of a national team aspect, but teams that are smaller tend to get pushed out, which is why skilled teams from Mexico sometimes don't get all the way through, and they get pushed around by a bigger, team from Germany or Brazil for all those years. But the Spanish weren't necessarily huge, So there is quality to smaller size, and I think you're right. I mean, not only the Prem, Dave, but Bundesliga teams,
Sure.
and I guess to a degree, I think also what you're talking about, Dave, is the style of play. Like, is there a style of play where he can excel? Well, right now we're seeing that MLS is a great fit for him, and he's playing. The other thing that's important, I think, about Giovinco, he loves the city. He loves the makeup of the city, and for a lot of these international athletes, this is one of the easiest cities to live in. This is not that, crime is not really even something that I would, and this is not being a Toronto booster, and Dave and I have lived in a bunch of different cities, but do you ever think about crime when it comes to Toronto?
No.
or areas that you shouldn't go in?
No, not at all.
I don't.
Not a factor. I know we hear about it sometime, on the news that something happened here, there, but it's like that in every city. But as far as quality day-to-day life, This is like a 5-star world city.
I think I agree 100%. And I'll tell you, when Rocket Ishmael comes here, and he's this shy kid. I mean, he was really people have to realize how shy he was when he comes out of Notre Dame, and he gets thrust into a position where he's not even supposed to be not only the star of this CFL, John Candy, Wayne Gretzky.
Yep.
But he's expected to save the league. And NFL Films comes up here, and if you've ever seen it, they cover every game that the Argos played that year, all the way in, of course, and then winning the Grey Cup. And it is fantastic. Like it, the whole music presentation, and it's so weird to hear the voice going, and then when Matt Dunnigan, Dunnigan fades back and throws to Paul Mazzotti, graduate of Acadia University on the east coast of Canada. Like, bum, 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 bum. I'm like, wow, and the fisheye lens and the whole thing. That was a special time. But his mom says, I was so glad that he chose a place where he's going to have some freedom and some choices, and that the racial tension isn't here. Now, is there? It's not that it's the most racially free city. No city is. But in terms of his experience as an African American in other cities that we go to, in comparison, there would be none.
Correct.
Like in comparison.
Yep.
And so I think that's what you have in the city. And that's why I think, since, the Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, the All-Star game in Toronto, I think you have NBA players for the first time looking at the city and going, you know what? I could live there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Toronto has changed in that way. And we forget about, Dave, there's still, some of these guys are young, and being in love with the city that you play in, it is worth something. It is worth something.
I think it is. I think it's a major, major selling point to lifestyle and, commitment to some of these contracts, because these contracts that we're seeing across the sports board, they're not 2-3 years contracts. They're 8-year contracts. If there's significant money involved in some of these things, and you're almost looking at, a decade of my life is going to be played somewhere. And why not have a quality of life as well when I actually sign that contract and make my millions and so forth. And speaking of the CFL, got to give you a big shout out too on your Hamilton Tiger Cat pick this weekend, where you took the Stampeders minus whatever points.
I said minus whatever it is.
Because Hamilton decided that they weren't going to show up on Saturday night, because I watched most of that game.
Maybe the Tiger Cats, maybe Kent goes, you know what, Richie's a good guy. He's been calling us all week. Let's really give him something to be proud of. 60-1.
60-1. It was I did not see the whole game, because after a while you just turn it off. But when I checked the score later on and I saw 60-1, I don't remember when I saw that kind of beatdown.
This is you got to go back a ways. And and here's a clip here from the game. This is earlier on. I just watched and I said, this is going to be the safest bet you're ever going to make. So, property of the CFL, and this is our good friend, I think Rod Black. So Rod was, I think Blackie doing the game for
I think
TSN.
it was Black doing it in Calgary, yep.
So here comes a punt return. I just look at the coverage, and you think, okay, here's a full-on, rolling over, laying down, taking a knee by the Ticats.
Castillo. A heavy breeze behind him. Finch, it was 13, makes one miss, makes another miss. Now one-on-one, and Roy Finch turns on the burners, and Roy Finch is going to score to the 20, the 10, the 5. It's a touchdown.
Look at that coverage. And so it begins. And it just...
The old guys love it.
It just got worse. As you know, 61-1 was the final. Someone tweeted and said, geez, I should have taken your advice.
Yep, should have.
Even Victor Newman had that one as well.
That guy's money in the bank anyway.
Yeah, well.
It's not going to get any easier with him either, because they meet the Eskimos in Edmonton on the weekend.
If you're like everyone other degenerate, probably most who listen and watch this show, tell me you weren't trying to peek at early lines to try to figure out just what that number is going to be in Edmonton. Because I have a feeling it's going to be something very, very similar. If it is under 2 touchdowns, you got to take it again. Because I don't see... If the Ticats were to lose by like 13 or 14 points, that actually sort of puts them in the game. Are they going to play better? They will play better. The problem is they can't stop anybody. And that, my friends, is football. It doesn't matter how much you can put up. Sometimes it's how much can you stop. And right now on pass defense, and you just saw that with special teams, some big trouble there. You're watching rawmikeriches.com, either on the actual website or, of course, as we like to promote, on our dedicated YouTube channel. We're going to also adjust our tune-in. Like right now, you can get it as the podcast, but people keep trying in their cars. They keep looking for it to stream it live. And I think Rusty and I were talking about it. We're not in the right category, so we've got to adjust that, because I know that's what people keep asking, and that's what we're going to try to do. We'll try to fix that. Also, as you know, coming up very shortly, we'll be making our picks with our friends Bet Regal. Hopefully, you signed up and got on board with Bet Regal. Those are the numbers we're going to be using this fall, and I couldn't help it, but I started to sneak ahead a little bit, Dave. Started to look at NCAA lines. And it's brutal. You know, I'm like Golem when it comes to college football. It's like people are like, hey, what are you looking at? Leave it alone. Precious picks. You had I've seen like Oregon's first game is against Southern Utah.
Oh boy.
So Oregon's got a new head coach. They're all excited. So what is that number? Probably minus 30 something.
Oh boy.
And I sit there over the just looking at those numbers and like, take it easy. What is my problem?
Southern Utah.
Yeah, I don't know what the number. I mean,
they still play football in Southern Utah.
Yeah,
eh?
well, yeah. Where are you playing? Like on the sand?
Seriously.
I know most of the nicknames for almost every college you can think of. Drawing a blank on Southern Utah. If someone wants to tweet it in, you go ahead, you look it up. But I think they're called the Shitties.
Interesting logo.
The Frady Cats. I don't know what it is. Southern Utah. They're not going to be a mountain something. And they're just one of those schools that they become a sacrificial lamb. The University of Oregon's going to give them a lot of money, and they're going to be like the Christians going into the Coliseum to face the Lions and the Gladiators, and they're going to get their heads chopped off. Now, again, this is an Oregon team that's trying to find itself.
You ready for it?
Okay, the Southern Utah
Thunderbirds.
That shit.
Thunderbirds. They wear red and white jerseys, apparently.
The colors I know. The nickname because, well...
Thunderbirds. That's your theme song when they get introduced.
We're the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
We're coming to your town. We're going to take a knee and give up a safety. You'll see. Thunderbirds. We've got a lot of wives.
It's not a bad song.
Go Thunderbirds.
We like what you do, Hamilton Tiger Cats. We're going to copy you.
Yeah. We punt on first down. We like to drop the ball. The fabulous. What did you say? What's the Thunderbirds?
Thunderbirds, yeah.
It's Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
All right. Southern Utah.
Southern Utah University Thunderbirds.
I said they would complain or write in, but I don't think there's writing utensils.
Nope.
Down in that part of the world, but we'll take a look.
We gave them a catchy song.
Yeah,
and if they don't take that and run with it opening week, then screw off.
If you inbreds from that part of the world steal that song, and all of a sudden they show up on I don't even know what network their Mountain West Network presents the Thunderbirds. You assholes! You know what else? Speaking, I know this is going to be weird. You know, sometimes movies come out. And you look at like 10 movies. You know, you go to tribute.ca
yes.
and you're like, nope. The story of a young woman. Nope.
Click.
Russell Graham is a man. No. In a land far, you know, it depends. And then I see something like, and the title is called My Friend Dahmer? The Jeffrey Dahmer story. Now, this is FilmRise, right?
I haven't seen this commercial.
So this is property of FilmRise. They're the ones who made this.
Okay.
By the way, you're getting a commercial here. Don't jerk around with this. We love it because we want to see it. We're promoting your film. My Friend Dahmer. Here's the trailer. Here's the preview. Telling me I'm not watching this because guess what? I'm watching it. FilmRise. The story of a boy. Okay, that's not the voiceover, but just look at it. And they did some casting.
Take a deep breath.
That looks like him. Now, Ooh, look at that. That's not good.
And another deep breath.
No, just creep people out. Would you go to see it?
Out of the way, dumbass.
Ooh. Don't call him dumbass. Ooh.
You wouldn't know about the kids because you're not at home anymore.
Now, is this a movie you'd see, Dave? Would you go see this?
I don't know, man.
Say yes. No. Don't be the nice husband guy.
I don't know, man.
Look how creepy that is.
What about what's on a patient's mind?
The Russell Graham story.
Jeff's a little off, you know? I think he's kind of hilarious.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I like Bones. It interests me.
I like Bones.
I see things in you that I don't like about myself. I want you to have friends in ways that I never could.
So this is like the real Dexter, folks. This isn't
just like anybody else. He's not a sideshow attraction. Are you okay?
Get out of your shell. You need to be more normal.
Russell. Look at that. And Haish is in it. She was nuts anyways,
I
too.
present to you Jeffrey Dahmer in his command performance.
Oh, yeah. My Friend Dahmer. Starts in theaters Friday. Film Rise.
You're the way better voiceover than that guy.
You know what? I got to do that once. All the voice work that I did over those years, and I don't do them now. It's kind of too annoying. But in the day, when I was doing like tons every week, I got to do the trailer guy from House of a Thousand Corpses, Rob Zombie film, which is one of my all-time favorites. And the line I got to do...
Here we go.
Like, starts in theaters Friday. It's like...
Yeah!
So I told my wife, I got to do this. Starts in theaters Friday.
And she was really impressed and excited as hell.
And then once again, I got nothing. The story of a boy who got nothing from his wife. Hey, honey, I just won $1 million. Nobody cares! Did you take out the garbage? Oh, you're so shit! Mike Richards stars in Getting Nothing. Hey, I just saved a boy from drowning. Get upstairs and play the piano! Actually, that made no sense.
I don't think that's what she'd ask you to do that.
I don't think that's really...
The garbage part is acceptable. Yeah. That's pretty everyday, right?
You will learn the accordion, mister! Okay, so what else left do we want to talk about today?
I think we're good, man. Tomorrow on the show, Rochelle Ryan, Triple X porn star, and a massive Giants fan. Massive New York Giants fan.
So you two are gonna.
So we're gonna really hit it off.
I was gonna say lock horns, but I think actually that does happen in her real life. I think that's part of it. Rochelle. Oh, I know. Someone said, "Oh, from Milan to Minsk." I said, "Yes, it's a little bit of that, but that can't be the first time she's heard that."
No. Well, we'll try it out and we'll see if it was.
Do you watch Seinfeld? What's Seinfeld?
What's a Seinfeld?
It's a show that don't. But she looks like she's actually kind of going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to that. Did I miss anything, Russell? Was there anything else that I was going to do today? I realize it's a Monday. Once again, want to thank, as I did Calgary, for an incredible week. That was awesome. We did everything today.
You guys did well in Calgary. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So we sort of understand what it takes to go. And, of course, next time, obviously, Dave will be there wherever we go. The dental operation turned out fine.
Yeah, it turned out okay. It's step number 2. So, unfortunately, this procedure is a lot of healing in between and a lot of what's the word of a lot less money in my wallet. How's that?
Well, yeah, dentists, we get it. It's like you see guys on. There's a guy I met on a cruise one time.
Yep.
This family.
He owned the boat.
Yeah, I get why you're in the cruise, pal. So your boat is the Equinox? Like seriously, I don't trust dentists. Well, yeah. So if you're asking, I'm an anti-dentite. I don't mind saying it.
There you go. Dentists are Thunderbird fans.
Yeah, well, we'll get a bunch of promos of that too. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, there's a lot more than just the show itself. But I know you're saying, how could there be more? Well, there is more.
What?
And so much more, as we like to say.
Become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup. It's time!
I'd like to thank Mark Zecchino from Golf Talk Canada, our good friend, joining us today talking about Johnny Vegas, his win at the Canadian Open. Also, I see, Niederreiter scores. Nino Niederreiter.
Talk about an overpaid salary. Holy crap.
I looked at that and I thought, but that is what we're dealing with right now in the NHL. You sign at this time of the year, you get the money. One of the good names, though. What's your name? Nino Niederreiter. No, it's not. Tomorrow, Rochelle, what's her last name?
Ryan.
Rochelle Ryan on the show. Triple X movie star. Oh, yeah. See you tomorrow.